Hello Dave is brought to you ad-free by my supporters on Patreon. Become a Patreon yourself and get your name listed as a supporter at the end of every video by following the link in the video description. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hello Dave with Down to Earth Astronomy. Another week has passed, and what a week it has been. There's been a lot of talk about missions in general, both on the forum and pretty much any platform. And the whole thing started last weekend when me and Jamix both launched a video about skimmer missions and how we could use them to create a vast amount of profit very, very quickly. That of course then meant that the following Monday, Frontier decided to disable the skimmer missions outright, and this is a new approach from Frontier to just disable missions outright. In the past, what they've done when they located something that they would deem imbalanced, they would find a solution, and then once they had the solution, they would then push that solution out via a patch. But now it seems like they've gone over and begin to just outright disable things until they find a solution, which I think is a little... I'm a bit afraid that's a dangerous road to go down by. And the reason is, what I fear will happen is that now that the missions has been completely disabled, the encouragement to just go out and fix this quickly is kind of been removed. So what I fear will happen, I'm not saying that it will happen, I'm just saying that I'm fearing this will happen, is that the time it will take before these missions will be re-enabled is going to take a very long time. And if they don't get it re-enabled before new stuff come up, for instance, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday this week also, or last week, mining missions was also disabled because there was an issue with those where you could, for instance, if you had a mining mission for mining, let's say 20 units of osmium, you could then go and get those 20 units of osmium, hand that in, and then you would get paid some gold or some credit and let's say 25 units of osmium back. So you had end up with more credits and more osmium when you started, and you would then do the same type of missions over and over and over again. You just keep cycling this, you just pile up more and more osmium, more and more credits, and then once you had too much osmium for a cargo hold, you would sell half of it and you just continue. So that was also disabled. And my point is that if they keep disabling stuff like this and they don't fix it quickly enough, it's gonna end up exactly as with the stations in the game that's been attacked by Thargoids, that the players cannot, there's not enough of a encouragement to go and fix the stations, so players don't fix them, meaning that they're just going to be piling up more and more and more damaged stations that's in need of repair. And I could feel like the same thing would happen here, that now that the encouragement to fix this quickly has been removed, that it's going to just pile up and there'll be more and more stuff disabled from the game and not being fixed, because maybe they will focus on adding in new stuff rather than fixing the stuff that's broken. But anyway, that's just my fears, and again, there's been other things similar. I mean, the reputation from missions seems to be pretty broken as well. You know, the new mission system where you can select either a cash reward, a reputation, influence, sometimes cargo, you'll get 3 choices. Apparently the reputation increase you gain is pretty broken. I've seen screenshots of people going from no rank to king in the Empire in a matter of hours because of the insane amount of credit, or not credit, insane amount of reputation you will get from the reputation missions. So if you just find some mission to complete quickly enough that will offer you reputation, then, well, then you could end up getting your ranks up very, very quickly. And this is, again, it's a new style from Frontier, so we'll have to wait and see how that's going to influence the game. But I really, really hope that they are going to focus on getting things re-enabled that they have disabled with a fix or a rebalance, depending on what it is that's been going on. And the whole thing, of course, continued when I last Friday launched a video about passenger missions and how you can do them in a wing where you could also make a decent amount of credit if you do it right and you do it in a wing. Now, of course, I just sparked the whole conversation or the whole discussion again, whether this will just be disabled, and also the whole discussion whether the game is too grindy. I mean, the argument is that there are some people who feel like that we're paying for a game, we're paying a pretty hefty price for the main vanilla game, and then we pay for a a DLC, the Horizon DLC, and yet still the game is very grindy, and there's a lot of time sinks in the game. And from Frontiers, from a game development point of view, it makes sense because they have now, Fdev have now moved over from making the game a like pay per season to a pay per microtransactions. So they of course want to have people spend more and more time in the game. But keep adding in time sinks in a game where you've already paid quite a bit to actually get into the game feels like a little, I don't know, it doesn't taste right. And that's a complaint that some people have, that the game's too grindy, there's too many time sinks, and they just keep disabling it, removing the fun from the game. And talking about fun, and that is one of the reasons why I personally think that they are not going to remove the passenger missions right away. Because that Elite in itself is by nature, as an MMO, it has failed. Now, don't get me wrong here. You should know by now that I love this game to bits. I've played a lot, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very good game. But as an MMO, it is not. It's not a very good MMO, because there's very little player-to-player interaction. I think Elite is a good single-player game with multiplayer options. But I would really love to see the game moving in a more multiplayer-oriented way. So having these wing missions was absolutely great, and now seeing so many people using them is also very great. And I think Frontier also is very interested in having people play together, because at the end of the day, I think that is going to keep people engaged in the game for longer if they have someone to play with, rather than just playing with themselves in the game. And I've also had a lot of people who've been telling me that they have been playing solo in the last 2 years, or for however long they have been playing the game, and this is the first time that they've actually been out, they've been playing with other players, and they've really enjoyed it. Someone even wrote to me on Facebook telling me how that he spent his weekend with his kids and his wife, and they all played the game together, and they have really enjoyed those missions. So you just want to write and say thank you. So there's a lot of people who are really enjoying these new missions, and I would really feel it's a shame if Frontier decides to disable them. Whether it is balanced or not, that can be discussed. But I hope they're then at least going to keep it in the game until they figure out how they're going to rebalance it if they don't feel it is balanced. I personally don't see a problem with the way it is right now, because if you want that top level payout, you need to be a wing of 4 people in highly endgame ships like Type 9s or Cutters or similar ships in order to get that maximum payout out of it. And you need to be working together efficiently. You need to communicate in order to make this work properly. And of course, if you have smaller ships, you're going to get less payout, which to me seems pretty balanced. So I hope that this is something that they're going to keep in the game. Okay, let's quickly my live stream tomorrow, which is as usual going to be on at 9 o'clock GMT +1, so that would be 8 o'clock in-game time. Last week I did a small poll up here in the modified one, where I asked what you guys want to see, and that was a huge success. There was a lot of people who voted, and there was a lot of people who turned up for the live stream, so I'm going to do the same this week. I have 2 things that I've considered live streaming. One of them is going over and have a look at my Corvettes. I haven't been upgrading it at all since the 3.0 was launched, so it still has all the Grandfather engineering or legacy engineering on it. And it is in need of an upgrade. I really want to get that up and running and get that in tip-top shape. So I'm planning to go out and begin engineering that. I might have to go and collect a little bit of materials or trade some of it in at the materials trader. But that's one thing. The other thing that I'm planning is to go a little location scouting. I have a list of places that I want to go and have a look that could potentially be interesting in terms of future videos. Exactly where. I have a list. I'll probably select some of them and then do them in some kind of order. But basically, it will just pretty much be me flying around to locations that might be extremely boring, or that might, if we're very lucky, come across something that's interesting. But those are the 2 options that I'm planning to stream tomorrow. So you can go up to the modifier icon up here and You can either vote for Corvette engineering and material collecting for the Corvette, or location scouting for potential new videos in the future. So let me know what you would want to see, and I hope to see a lot of you guys for the live stream tomorrow. Before we end, I would just like to remind you that I have demonetized all future Hello Day videos because I'm trying to draw a little more attention to my Patreon page. So if you want to support the channel, there's a link for Patreon in the description below. And as always, all money that comes in through Patreon goes directly towards better equipment, better sound equipment, editing software, stuff that will directly influence the quality of the videos that you guys are watching. So, I hope you liked the video. If you did, give a like down below. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I will see you guys in space.